Hey everybody, it's me Greg and welcome to another Q&A question and answer video. In this video we're going to be talking about severe thunderstorms only. In another video I'll talk about tornadoes in a question and answer session for that. This video is focused a lot on not only the individual but also you as a family and even the workplace, and kind of just combine it all into a group. So that's what this video is going to be focusing on: individual, family, and the workplace. And again, these questions are questions that people have asked me, or I feel that questions that would be asked, to a specialist that deals with emergency management or even the weather service. And so I'll be talking about those questions and answers, and all the questions will be down at the bottom of the video. The number one question that we get a lot in emergency management and also the National Weather Service is what is the difference between a watch and a warning? You get watches and warnings not only for severe weather, but you also get it for hurricanes, typhoons, and even the winter, like winter storms, blizzards. So, what's the difference between a watch and a warning? A watch is usually the first thing. Well, I shouldn't say that, because depending on the weather, it can also start out as an advisory, which that's a whole different thing. But a watch is basically conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather. And usually on a map, you'll see, all outlined in your area, and it's usually in yellow. And that can be anywhere in that watch area that severe thunderstorms can develop. And once it gets to a warning stage, that whole area will turn red. So, what's the difference between a watch and a warning? Well, a watch is conditions again are favorable for the development of severe weather, and then a warning is when severe weather is happening in the watch area. It can be spotted by a trained weather spotter, or it can be spotted on a radar. And um, a watch basically means prepare, get ready for it. Okay. And then I tell people the warning means take action. So, for instance, if you are, well, just use something simple like, you know, cold. All right. A watch would be, oh, it looks like it's cold outside. It's freezing. I see a lot of people walking around with a coat, scarf, and a hat. So that would be kind of like the watch. And then the warning would be, I got to go out there because it's freezing. I see the temperatures are below zero, so I'm going to put my coat on. So it's something like that. It's, like I said, it's something that you're being prepared for, you're getting ready for, and then the actual warning will be taking the action part. So that's the difference between a watch and a warning. I live in a mobile home. Can I stay in my mobile home? Uh, that's another question that we get a lot. Mobile homes, and I know a lot of people live in mobile home parks, and mobile homes or trailers. I do not recommend anybody to sit in severe weather and even a tornado in a mobile home or a trailer, simply because the storms can really do a lot of damage to the trailers in a mobile home. And the mobile homes and trailers are very constructed differently than a regular structured building. So, again, when the watch is issued in your area, I would start looking for a place to go. Know where those watches are. It's like, okay, the watch is between now and 3 p.m., or this watch is between now and, say, 10 o'clock tonight. And once it goes into the middle of the night, I'm not afraid to tell people, and I know it's expensive to try to go get a hotel room. That way, you're in a structured area, you got places to go and hide, and you're in a warm area. Um, so utilize that time for the watch to look for a place to go. You go to a hotel. If it's before nighttime, find a structure like a retail office building and spend some time in there for a while. Or go to if you got a friend or a relative in the area that lives in an apartment or a home, go there too. I would totally, totally stay out of a mobile home or a trailer. What's the best place if I am trapped outside? I know sometimes we're out walking. I know I've had this issue. Luckily, I wasn't far from home. I like taking walks throughout my neighborhood, and there has been times where I've been caught in a thunderstorm. Luckily, I had a place to go, or that was not that far, but you might be out in the middle of nowhere out in the country, and there may no be any place to go. But again, always before you walk, know how far you're going to walk, know where your structures are if you know there's a thunderstorm coming. But if you are trapped outside, especially out in the country area, I don't recommend it, but it is the best thing to do. Is if you're near your vehicle, you could take shelter in your vehicle. But again, if you're not in your vehicle, there's nothing around. They suggest to lie in a low-lying area like a ditch, crouch low, and put your feet together, and also cover your head like this. That way, any debris that's flying, like tree branches or anything that's loose that's flying around, it's not going to hit your head. You want to kind of curl in a ball. That's basically what you're trying to do. And that's only if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get caught in this. Why can I drive through a flooded area? That one, I see this a lot on television. Luckily, I have not seen this in person, but I do see this a lot on television. I do not recommend driving through a flooded area. If you see something that's flooded, turn around. They always tell you to turn around, don't drown. Because you have no idea how far out you can go. It might look, oh, okay, no problem. I could drive through this. It's not as deep. But if it's a huge puddle, I mean, like a huge, looks like a lake, the further you go out, the more deeper it's going to get. And if God forbid you're in that water and there's a current coming in, or there's a current there that you don't see, your car is actually going to go under the water and it's going to push you during towards that current, and you're going along with it. So that's why if you ever see flooded, I don't care how deep it is, it could be like that. I wouldn't even drive through it. Just don't do it. Turn around, go back the other way, and try to find another route to take to wherever you need to go. But do not drive through flooded areas because it can, stall your vehicle. You can even drown, if you don't know how to swim and you can't get out of your vehicle. That's how a lot of people die in flooded areas because they just don't take the time to think, and they think, oh, I can make it through this. Oh, I got a big semi truck, or I got a pickup truck that the wheels are high enough and I could drive through it. Yeah, okay. But I've seen those stall out too. So again, if you see a lot of water, don't drive through it. Going back to the watches and warnings, what should I do when a watch or a warning is issued? And you'll see a lot of write-ups on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube. I actually have a video that talks about severe weather, and I do have some tips what to do during a watch and a warning. Just some simple things, real quick. When a watch has been issued, again, this is your preparedness mode. You want to make sure, number one, that you have all your current weather alerts. look at your apps on your phone and make sure you have the National Weather Service. Make sure you have your local weather or local television stations. Sometimes you might be able to find your local or county emergency management. Run that in your search of your Play Store of your apps and try to gather as much as that as you possibly can because those will, once you get that loaded on your phone, those will keep updating. You'll get updates on your phone periodically. Some phones, like my phone, I have an Android. I actually have an inbuilt where I could actually, in your settings, you can set it to getting weather alerts as well. So you want to check your settings and see if there's anything that deal with weather alerts or anything like that, important information, and also get go into your Play Store and try to find some alerts from other sources, like again the National Weather Service, your local television stations, your news, or your local emergency management, county, even police and fire departments, because they will update that as well. Also, get a battery radio. I have not listened to a radio in a long time. Um, and with batteries. And I know a lot of your FM and AM stations, they'll break in with weather statements and stuff. I just haven't listened to a radio in a long time, so hopefully you can find some stations like AM and FM. So if you got that, if you have a weather radio, especially a crank one, and you can get those at your local hardware stores, drugstores, Walmart, even the Red Cross gives them out or sells them. Even check the National Weather Service and see if they can have something, or even on Amazon. Get yourself a weather radio. That's the first thing I would do. That way you keep up with your alerts and you know how long that watch is, when is it going to expire, and then if it turns into a warning. Another thing I would do is you have if you have a communication plan, activate your communication plan. Know where your family is. You know, if this is during the day and you're home, you know, by yourself and your kids are in school, make sure you can keep communication with your school, because if something would happen to the school, like damage or something, hopefully the school will contact you. If you're anybody's out and about, like on a weekend, a holiday, and severe weather is occurring, know where your family is. You know, text and call. Also, let your outside friends and relatives know, hey, I got severe weather. I just want you to know that we'll keep in touch with you. Always communicate with your family, your friends, and even neighbors. That way, everybody's in the loop and everybody knows what's going on. Um, Make sure you pick up any kind of loose items in your yard. You know, trash cans, toys. If you got loose branches, cut them off because those things will get thrown. Especially if you have high winds, and you don't want any structural damage or anybody getting injured for that. So any tools like rakes, things like anything that can blow with the wind, you want to make sure you got that all taken in. If you own a business, I know a lot of businesses like putting those sandwich boards outside. Make sure you bring those in. Make sure you take your tables in. Your umbrellas are down. Chairs are taken in. You know, anything again that's loose that can be thrown. Um, Check on your elderly. If you have any elderly relatives that live in the area, communicate with them. And again, if you have anybody with people with disabilities in your family, make sure they're aware of what's going on as well, and activate your plan for them. When it comes to a warning, that's where you take action. Make sure you go into a sturdy building. Close up your windows. If you have blinds, turn your blinds. If you got your curtains, close your curtains. That will help if if anything gets thrown against the window, that will help minimize the glass being thrown into your residence. I would stay away from windows. If you have a basement, go down to the basement. Um, you know, you don't have to go to the basement during severe weather, but mostly stay away from the windows and keep an eye again on your phones or any electronics like television, radio to keep informed of what any kind of other weather updates. So again, watch, prepare, warning, action. Um, are the storms worse than tornadoes? Yes, they actually can be. Why? Because of lightning and winds. Um, there has actually been statistics out there that more people are injured or even death due to severe weather than tornadoes because of the high winds and lightning. So yeah, they can be worse than tornadoes. Can lightning strike the same place more than once? Yes, it can. Actually, from the same storm. Um, so if you got a place that gets hit a lot, like your roof or something like that, you can put lightning rods out there. Those are good to so the lightning will hit the rod and bounce off, so it's not striking the your antennas on top of the roof or anything metal, especially or a tree outside. But yeah, it can. You can an area can be struck by lightning more than once. Can thunderstorms occur outside the watch and warned area? Yes, they can. I've actually witnessed that. I live in the Chicago area, and we've had severe thunderstorms, watches and warnings, just not that far from me, and just a few miles, and then all of a sudden, here's a thunderstorm out of nowhere, bringing high winds and hail, and it's like, huh? How come we are not even in the watch area? We're not even in the warned area, and we got thunderstorms. It does happen. That's why you got to be on alert and keep an eye onto the sky and keep up with your weather statements and stuff because it can change. Thunderstorms are not like watching, okay, we're in this little box here, so we have to stay in this box. Um, that's not what thunderstorms do. They have a mind of their own, just like tornadoes. They have a mind of their own. They're going to go where they're going to go or where the front's going to change. Sometimes the front will change right about your area. So it can go further north or further south. And if you're not in that watch area, you can still get it. So that's why you've got to be prepared. That's why they always tell you in or close to the watch area. How long do storms last? Um, Most thunderstorms last less than an hour. If there is a line, we actually had a thunderstorms that came through Chicago. I think it was last month, where it seemed like it was forever. We had a thunderstorm, then there was a break. Then there's another thunderstorm that came in, another break, another thunderstorm that came in. If you're in a squall line like that, it can be more than an hour because it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. That does happen. What is a derecho? And derecho is in Spanish, and basically it's a widespread, long-lived, fast-moving windstorm associated with severe thunderstorms. And they call it also a bow echo. And it exceeds 58 to 100 miles an hour, and the path of this is 400 miles long. It's basically just strong straight line winds. I call it like it's between straight line winds to a tornado. So it's kind of fits in the category of right between. I heard of the term 30-30. What is the 30-30 rule regarding lightning? Well, whenever you hear lightning or hear thunder or see lightning, automatically go indoors. Go, go indoors if you hear thunder within 30 seconds of seeing lightning and stay inside for 30 minutes. So go inside within 30 seconds and then you stay inside for 30 minutes. That's your 30-30. And then after the last clap of thunder is when you come out. I usually, just watch out, you know, take peeks outside and see if the thunderstorm is away once it's nice. And sometimes the sun comes right back out, then the thunderstorm is pretty much gone. What defines a severe thunderstorm? Hail at least 1 inch in diameter, winds gusting over 58 miles an hour. How far can lightning strike? 10 to 15 miles away. You might see that flash here, and I was like, whoa, that looks like that was close. But actually, it could have struck something 10 miles away. And I know I mentioned this before. Another question I usually get is, what kind of alerts do you recommend to have on your phone? Again, National Weather Service, your county or your city's emergency management, um, any kind of news, like local television news. Some of them might just have radars, out there. Those are the big ones I would have on my phone. And then in addition, I would have a battery powered radio, like I said, with an AM FM, and also a weather radio. Because again, we rely so much on cell phones. And I tell people this all the time, we rely so much on cell phones. And if something would happen to your nearest cell phone tower, like say lightning hits it or something, or high wind might knock it down, you have no cell service. So how are you going to get your alerts now? That's why I recommend a backup. We're relying so much on our technology today that we are now going against backups, and some emergency managers are forgetting about that. We're so inclined to our phones, our apps, and thinking our phones are perfect. They're going to work all the time, 100%. Well, what happens if I grab my phone and I forgot to recharge it? I don't have an extra battery. So now you're not going to know what's going on out there. That's why I always recommend people, it's okay to have your phone. I'm not knocking that, but also have a backup, a battery powered radio, a weather radio, even watch your television. You turn on your TV, your local stations, ABC, NBC, CBS. They will break in, they will have alerts. You'll see it down on the bottom of the scroll. They're scrolling it down on the bottom of your screen, even the Weather Channel. Have those on, and besides your phone. Don't just rely on your phone. Have those things on as well, and have those radios. The more you have, the better, because if one goes out, you got another one. That one goes out, you got another one. So the more, the better. That's what I tell people. But some people are just relying so much on these phones, and we're forgetting that, hey, cell towers can go out too, or your battery might die, or I don't have a way to charge it because I have no electricity. So again, you just use your common sense and have what you got. Again, internet is also another way you can do. You can go on the computer, but again, internet's going to go out, and if you don't have that, then then you got to go to another source. So that's what I recommend. I hope this video helped. These are again the questions I get, or questions we normally get in emergency management or the National Weather Service field. Again, this video is just strictly for severe thunderstorms. In another video, I'll be doing the same thing, question answering for tornadoes. So look out for that one soon. And if you again have any questions or comments, make sure you put it down below on this video. This will be on my Facebook page and also my YouTube channel. And I will also list all the questions that were asked, and you just and it's in order, and you'll find it in the video. So again, thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.